tackling a really interesting market that I think you're going to love, India's medical retail exports.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. It's a market with a ton of potential.
You requested this one, right? You were curious about trends, the potential, maybe some strategies to tap into it all.
Exactly. I've been reading about this market, and it's just,
Well, let me throw this at you. Did you know that even though India is the third largest drug producer globally, by volume at least, it's only 11th in terms of export value?
wow. Okay. Yeah,
So that means there's huge room to grow.
I see where you're going with this. All right, let's do it. Let's break it all down.
All right, so India, they have a certain nickname when it comes to pharmaceuticals.
Oh, you mean the pharmacy of the world?
That's the one. But it's more than just a catchy name, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they're a powerhouse. When it comes to production, India really turns out pharmaceuticals.
So that nickname is well-deserved.
100%. But what's really fascinating is the shift that's happening. They're moving beyond just volume and really focusing on value.
Okay, so they're producing a lot, but not bringing in the big bucks, at least not yet. What's driving this shift toward value?
Well, for a long time, India's been known for producing generic drugs, right?
Right.
But now we're seeing a few things happening. The competition in that market is heating up. There's a global demand for these more complex treatments like biosimilars.
Oh, yeah. Biosimilars, we hear that term a lot, but what exactly are they?
Think of them as more affordable versions of these super complicated, really expensive biologic drugs.
Okay. The more people can afford them.
Exactly. And India's really good at producing them.
But it's not as easy as just copying a regular pill, right? I mean, developing a biosimilar.
No, you're absolutely right. It's way more complex. These are incredibly complex molecules, and proving they're similar enough to the original that takes rigorous clinical trials, stringent regulatory requirements. It's a whole different world from the traditional generics.
Wow, so India is really stepping up its game, and experts are saying this market could hit $350 billion by 2047.
Yeah, it's mind-blowing. And the projections for biosimilars specifically, we could be looking at 5 times growth by 2030.
Whoa, that's insane. So India's got the skills, they're producing the goods. Where's the next big opportunity? What's the untapped potential everyone's missing?
One word, Europe.
Europe. Why Europe?
Okay, think about it. European healthcare systems, they're less reliant on generics than, say, the US.
Okay, yeah, I see that.
They're willing to pay for quality, for innovation, especially when it comes to these complex treatments, exactly what India is getting so good at.
So it's about finding a market that values what India does best, right? High quality, cost-effective, innovative treatments. Instead of going where everyone else is, you're going where they're really craving those newer medications.
Exactly. That strategic thinking is what's going to make all the difference.
And that is smart.
And they have everything they need. Strong research, a highly skilled workforce. It's like an innovation powerhouse waiting to explode.
Okay, so we've got this massive market ready to grow. We've got the untapped potential in Europe, and India has the brains and the skills to make it happen. But how? How do we actually make this potential a reality? What are the secrets to success here?
Well, the first thing is targeted marketing. You have to be strategic about which regions you're focusing on, and digital platforms. That's your key.
Okay, so none of that spray and pray stuff, huh? You're talking about really focused marketing, speaking directly to what these different areas need.
Yeah, and you have to go deeper than just demographics. You need to understand the regulatory environment of each European country, the healthcare infrastructure, even specific patient needs. It's about knowing which digital platforms work best in each region, how to tailor your message to resonate with them.
So it's almost like treating each country as its own unique market. You can't just take a one-size-fits-all approach.
Exactly. And then there's quality assurance.
Right, because even the most cutting-edge product won't sell if people don't trust that it's safe and effective.
100%. Transparency and trust, that's key. And showcasing those top-notch manufacturing facilities plays a huge role in that.
So target your marketing, prove your quality, what else?
Brand building. India has to create these strong brands that say reliable and innovative. They need to build that reputation.
Right, it's not just about selling the product, it's about selling the whole story. Like people have their favorite brands of electronics because they know they can trust the quality, the innovation. It's the same idea here.
It is, and it's not impossible. There's an example in the source material about an Indian company that partnered with a European research institute. That collaboration led to a breakthrough drug, yeah, but it also helped build their reputation as a reliable innovator.
So strategic partnerships can really make a difference.
Absolutely. Working with established players in the European market, it gives you instant credibility, opens doors that might have stayed closed otherwise.
This is all great, but let's get practical. Someone's listening right now, they're thinking, I'm in, I want to be a part of this. What are the actual steps? Where do they start?
Well, the first step is market research. You have to know your target market.
And how do you even begin to do that with something this big? Are there resources out there?
Of course, Euromonitor, for example, they're a leader in global market intelligence. They can give you those data-driven insights, help you pinpoint the perfect market.
So let's say you've done that. You've used a resource like Euromonitor to really understand your market. What's next?
You need a rock-solid business plan. This is your roadmap to success.
Your blueprint.
Exactly. It needs to outline your financials, your marketing strategy, even your operational setup.
Including things like supply chain management.
You got it.
Because in a global market, logistics are everything.
You said it. Okay, so you've got the plan. Next, you've got to navigate those regulatory hurdles, register your business, obtain all the necessary licenses.
So are there specific agencies you need to go through?
In India, there's the Central Drugs Standard Control Organization. They call it CDSCO for short.
Okay.
And of course, if you're exporting to the U.S., you'll need to work with the U.S. FDA.
So you do your research, you create that amazing plan, you jump through all the regulatory hoops. Are you good to go at that point?
Almost. You still need to set up your manufacturing facilities, make sure they meet those international quality standards we talked about.
Right, of course.
And don't underestimate partnerships. Working with local distributors, they have that on-the-ground knowledge that can make or break you.
Finding the right people, the people who can help you navigate a new market, you can't do it all alone.
Nope. And one final thing, know your export regulations, both in India and your target market. Customs clearance procedures, labeling requirements, all of it matters.
So many details.
Right. It's a lot to juggle. But once you've tackled all of that, you're ready to go. You're ready to start exporting.
That's amazing. But it sounds like it's not a set it and forget it kind of deal.
It's definitely not. You need to stay on top of things, see how you're doing, adjust your strategies as you go.
It's a dynamic market, constantly changing.
Exactly. And we're just scratching the surface here.
I know. There's still so much to explore.
Well, we'll dive deeper into those resources, all those strategies that can really make this venture a success when we come back.
Awesome. Can't wait. All right, so we're back and ready to jump back in. I'm so fascinated by this market. The potential is just
It is. There really is so much there.
so much. And you mentioned that there are even more resources we should check out beyond Euromonitor.
Oh, yeah. If you want to really dive deep into India's pharmaceutical export potential, there's this report called Healing the World by Bain and Company.
Okay, I'm already loving that title. Healing the world, I mean, it really paints a picture, doesn't it?
It does. They offer a very detailed roadmap for India's pharmaceutical dominance. It's a must-read, honestly.
Okay, that goes on the reading list. Healing the world. Got it. And Euromonitor, we talked about them for market research, but what kind of insights do they actually offer?
Well, they're great for understanding those big global healthcare trends. You know, it's not specifically about Indian exports, but it gives you the context. You can kind of see how India fits into the global puzzle and start to anticipate those shifts in demand.
So it's about seeing the bigger picture, not just focusing on India in isolation.
Exactly.
But let's be realistic for a second. No market is without its challenges. What are some of the roadblocks someone might run into when they're trying to break into this world?
Well, the regulatory landscape is definitely something to keep in mind. It can get pretty complex, navigating all the regulations, both in India, wherever you're exporting to.
Yeah, we touched on CDSCO and the US FDA, but I imagine there are others depending on where you're going, right?
Oh, absolutely. And it can be time-consuming, too, making sure you're ticking all the boxes, so that's something to be aware of.
Okay, so regulations. Got it. Anything else?
Well, competition is another big one. It's a crowded market in India.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how do you stand out in that kind of environment? We talked about brand building, but are there other strategies?
Well, innovation is key. You need to be developing unique products, unique formulations, something that gives you that edge. And strong relationships are crucial, too.
Ah, the power of networking.
It's huge. Having those connections, those partnerships, can open so many doors.
So it's not just what you know, it's who you know.
Right. And don't forget about adapting to those local market needs. What works in one country might not work in another. You need to be sensitive to those cultural nuances.
Yeah, it's about understanding the market, showing them that you've done your homework.
Exactly. And then there's pricing. That's a big one.
Ah, yes. The eternal struggle, making a profit, but staying competitive.
Especially in markets that are really price sensitive, you have to find that sweet spot.
Right. So much to think about. But all of this has me wondering, what does the future hold for India's medical retail exports? What are the trends shaping this industry?
Well, one trend that's really gaining traction is personalized medicine, tailoring treatments to the individual patient.
Wow, that sounds futuristic, but how does that work? And how does India play into that?
Well, think about it. India has this vast, diverse population. It's ideal for doing all that genomic research, developing those personalized therapies, and they've got the tech expertise to turn those discoveries into actual products.
So they could really be a leader in this whole personalized medicine movement.
Oh, absolutely. And not just for India, but for the whole world. Imagine those life-changing treatments becoming accessible to so many more people.
It's amazing. And speaking of technology, there's another trend I'm seeing everywhere: digital health solutions. Telemedicine, wearable trackers, all of that.
Right. It's not just about the drugs anymore. It's the whole ecosystem. It's how we access and manage our health.
Technology is really transforming healthcare.
It is, and India is well positioned to capitalize on that. Their tech sector is booming. Tons of talented software developers. They can innovate on both fronts.
The pharmaceutical and the technological. They're hitting it from all angles.
Exactly. And then there's another trend closely tied to all that digital stuff, big data and analytics.
Big data, it's the buzzword of the century.
It is, and the pharmaceutical industry is no different. They're using all that data to analyze patient outcomes, identify patterns, develop even more effective treatments.
So it's not just about developing new drugs, it's about understanding how those drugs work in the real world, using data to optimize them.
Exactly. And India, with its huge population, its expanding healthcare infrastructure, they're generating a ton of data. It's a gold mine for research and development.
So they're not just producing the treatments, they're at the forefront of understanding them too.
Right. But, we can't forget about the environmental impact of this industry.
Sustainability, it's a big deal.
It is. Pharmaceutical companies are under pressure to minimize their environmental footprint. And you know what? India is stepping up. They're embracing green manufacturing practices, investing in renewable energy.
They're leading by example, showing that you can have economic growth and environmental responsibility.
You can, and that's a message that consumers and investors want to see. But all of this makes me think about India itself. We've talked about the global impact, but how will all of this affect India?
Right, what about the local impact?
Well, economically speaking, it's a huge boost. Job creation, increased exports, it'll attract foreign investment.
So it's a win-win for India's economy.
Pretty much. But it goes beyond the dollars and cents. This industry is improving access to affordable healthcare for millions of people, not just in India, but around the world.
It's about making a difference.
Exactly. Now, I know we've covered a lot of ground, but I want to leave you with one final thought.
I'm all ears, lay it on me. We've talked about so much: the trends, the strategies, the challenges, the impact,
Right.
both locally and globally, but I feel like we're dancing around something. We keep coming back to this idea of India as the pharmacy to the world.
Yeah,
But this feels like it's bigger than just a business opportunity.
it is bigger. I think what we're getting at is the heart of it. When you connect all of this to the bigger picture, India's rise in the pharmaceutical industry, it's not just about them, it's about global health equity.
Global health equity, what does that actually look like? What does that mean?
I mean, think about it. For years, decades even, India has been providing these affordable medications to countries that really couldn't afford them otherwise. Like their dominance in generic drug production, that's literally been a lifesaver for people all over the world.
So it's not just about supplying medicine. It's about playing this vital role in global health access.
Exactly. And now, as they're moving into these higher value products, the biosimilars, the innovative therapies, they're poised to completely disrupt the global pharmaceutical landscape. These treatments, these life-changing treatments, they could become accessible to so many more people.
That's really powerful. So it's not just business. It's about actually improving health outcomes for people everywhere.
It is. And that brings us back to you, the listener. With India's pharmaceutical market on the verge of this incredible growth, what role could you play in this global health revolution?
That's the question we want to leave you with today. Whether you're an entrepreneur looking for that next big thing, a healthcare professional wanting to make a real difference, or just someone who's curious and loves to learn new things,
Keep learning.
we encourage you to explore this a little deeper. We talked about the Healing the World report by Bain & Company, and all of that amazing data that Euromonitor has on global healthcare trends.
Great places to start.
Those are fantastic starting points. But don't stop there. There's so much information out there just waiting to be discovered. So do your research, follow your curiosity, and you know what? Maybe you'll be the one writing the next chapter in this incredible story.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you then.